Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Celestial Journey. So, since last episode, I've actually been pretty busy. It's been a couple days, but I know where we're at right now in the pack. Now that we have Corporea, we have to start setting up our automation and doing all these different things. So I've been working on a little bit of structure work around the base. I didn't really get any work done on the prism, sorry, but I've been super busy, super busy on here. Um, First up, you'll notice a structure over here. We're going to be using this. I don't know if it'll be this episode. Oh, and these statues just kind of floating, creeping around the town. That's the only one that's floating. And then this one, this Steve over here, is actually supposed to be a death. But right now, he decided he wants to be Steve. But anyways, over here, I've set up this structure. It's actually super simple in design, but I think I like it. I think I'm enjoying it. And basically, I think the worst part was Scabast. Farming up some Scabast. But we don't have too much use for Scabast outside of decor, which is great. It's great for that. But anyways, so I said we were going to hide away that redstone from the, behind the red string comparators, and I think this does the job. And you can see this has made the slates that we wanted it to make, and has since stopped and isn't making any more slates at the moment, even though there's endstone still in the chest. So this little structure here is actually the Alchemists Guild kind of place. It's still very much a work in progress, but if we step through, these are just Hearthgrove doors. But Between Lands actually adds a lot of nice doors, which does help. But inside, this is kind of what we've got going on at the moment. I still have to put a ceiling on it and a roof on top of the building. I haven't decided. Originally, I was planning on doing a peaked roof, but I think I'm just going to do like a flat roof and actually have kind of a garden on top and some seating and stuff. Because this place kind of overlooks the night market, or from up there it will. And so I think that's what I want to do. And actually, opposite it, I've got to finish clearing, and I've got to be careful because right above here is the ocean. So I've got to be kind of careful. I had a bit of water come pouring through at one point, but it just kind of flowed down there. But back in here, we have pretty much our alchemy tables from Blood Magic, and we're going to be automating these and basically just plugging them up to stock things for us. And yeah, and that's pretty much the purpose of this entire building is for that. So, and then over here, this chest basically just links because this by itself it wouldn't link. But then this right here is just for our potions that we get from mob farms and mobs. So potion of poison, which of course drops from the cave crawlers. Potion of healing, which drops from our witches. I'm just storing in here and voiding after 256 of each potion, which will be a bit more effective here shortly because I think we're going to start into a little bit of our storage network, and we're also going to do a little bit of automation within Corporea today, I think is what I want to do. But yeah, that's the purpose of this building. This is all the Amat paper panes, and then over there, Amate paper as well. And then if we head down on this side, this is the look from over here. I've kind of got these set up sort of like planter boxes with the weedwood bushes that kind of run across. And then if we need to access our redstone, the way we do it, we step through here. Just kind of tucked away. I haven't changed over the floor yet. It's still stone, but this is all still plugged up the exact same as we left it. But that way we can do a little bit of automation down underneath the base of here. A lot of our redstone and things like that we don't want visible, we can stick down here. And these are done with the opaque mimic blocks from Blood Magic. So the ethereal opaque mimic blocks, these right here. We'll get you those. And then what you can do is you can just... I went with a big Between Lands, couple farming sessions because I was running out of certain things, weedwood and different things. But we can just place these down and then just right click them with any block we want. And we'll copy that and we can step through it. There's actually a few different mimic blocks from Blood Magic. Also, I did make a Terra Shatterer, for starters. So we do have that. I haven't upgraded it or enchanted it or anything special. I just went ahead and made it because I was needing to make a mana tablet. I ended up making 2 mana tablets between episodes. So, oh, and Blood Magic thing, Sigil of the Blood Lamp, we do have that. 32 Frozen Stone. And I was looking through these, and I noticed Potestas is now required. We have to make power bases. That's required to make the terrestrial agglomeration plate now. It wasn't when we made the terrestrial agglomeration plate, but now it's required. So I'm not going to rip mine up because it's not expensive. It's just another thing that we'd have to craft out to do. So it's nothing beyond our progression. Deductio has no use whatsoever in the pack that I can see. Unless maybe it's used for... Well, I think the Thaumcraft stuff would still show us, so I don't really know. I don't really know the purpose of that one. And then Solus, Sunny Base, Alchemy Catalyst, and then the Master Blood Orb, which we never made. And probably never will make. We'll probably just make a few for Alchemy Catalyst later on. And then as far as the Botania quest line, this is where we're at. I've done everything except the Ring of Magnetization. I was going to make this, and I was just like, no. Not so much this stuff, but it's just a whole lot of things I've got to do that I really don't want to do right now, because right here, electrical steel thruster, we need plutonium, and so I was just like, no, not right now. Not right now. And then I did go ahead and I made a couple new baubles, and I made a bauble case from Botania. This one I had to just craft for the quest. I don't really have any need for it. But the Ring of Correction, I went ahead and crafted this. I'm not really using it too much at the moment. And the reason being, I'm using the Shikax a lot for things, so I really don't need it to correct my tool type. This thing, that clay block took me like 3 days or something to get. No, I'm just kidding. And then I went ahead and made a Ring of Far Reach. Because this thing is great. If you notice, I can break that block. Yeah, I can break all the way up to there with the Ring of Far Reach. And place as well. It just helps me a lot with building pre-flight. But we're going to be working on flight here soon. And then I also made use of our Sigil of Holding. And I added in Sigil of the Blood Lamp. Now that we have all the life essence that we need, it's time for a Sigil of the Blood Lamp. And then a water sigil. So if we need water, we've got water. And we can also use this on tanks and containers to fill them up with water. What made me want to craft it was when I was crafting cloud seed buckets. I was like, because I had to make some more runes of air for some of the stuff that I was getting ready for today. And I had to craft some more runes of air, and I need cloud seed buckets. I was like, oh, okay, I think it's time for a water sigil now. Over here I have prepped up a little chest with some things that we're going to be using. I did notice something scary, though, in this pack. The mana detector. I was looking at these. They require tool bases, which requires Terrestrius, which requires Saxum. None of which is expensive, but it's... I mean, if we're going to make a lot of mana detectors for some of our stuff later on, which we probably will, it is a little bit costly. And then if we head over... Let's head over this way first. Oh, and you will notice I did some banners. Like, there's those right up there. There's a couple of those. Which, don't forget, you can copy banners. Like, those are cyan banner base. And so I stick cyan banner base with a cyan banner, like a plain one. And it'll just copy it. I don't have to, remake everything. And then over here, these are the same design, except they just don't have the yellow on them. So you can see it's black pale, black saltire, black border indented. And then those up there are, they have that yellow dot in the center. I went with that. I was just kind of playing around with banner designs on a banner creator, like online. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Of course, Botania does add a few designs, like quite a few. It's like 15 or something. Yeah, I like making my bases dangerous, if you didn't know. But I was playing around with some banner designs, and then I decided, hey, I like this design with that eye kind of thing in the center. And of course, it's also kind of a reference to the Yellow King. So I figured, well, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So anyways, back in here, I did discover that Urn of Chance and the Pots of Chance and stuff like that also will carry Corporeal Sparks. So I added some recipes for the different Urns of Chance and put sparks onto these to actually transfer my spark network down to here. That's as far as I've gotten so far. But so we can request things through the Corporeal Index here. And then, back in here, we have this kind of coming together. This is, I think, the color palette that I'm going to be using for the library. So it's just Crag Rock and Juniper Planks from Bewitchment. And I think it actually, I love the Juniper Planks, like that just decayed kind of wood look. I just think it looks so good. And I think the library build is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be big. It's going to be another big build, like the prison sort of, but it's going to be fun. And if we head up here, I have just started digging out of space. We're actually going to be working up here a little bit today, I think. But right now, there's nothing up there. And then lastly, I went ahead and dug out of space. I actually had to go online because I can never remember the exact size of the Gaia arena. And I did set this up here. So we're actually going to be fighting. I was thinking, like, where do I want to stick this Gaia arena? Then I was like, you know what? It's going to be so cool battling here up above, like, the town. Like, battling the Gaia Guardian up here. So, that is where we are at on the Gaia arena. Or that's where we'll be at for the Gaia arena. And you can see, basically, all you have to do to get the exact counts is you're going to count out, it's 11 blocks out to here. And basically, where the between stone is, this all has to be Gaia Guardian arena area, right? So 11 out to here, but then these, of course, are 10 out. And then you go 4, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I did that between stone because I was working on shaping this. So anyways, 11 out to there, and then 4, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1. So that's pretty much your circle design out from where the beacon will be. So we're going to be battling the guy here soon. There's a lot of things that are kind of gated behind him. But yeah. And so that's where we're up to at the moment. Just a lot of kind of infrastructure work, except for this build, which this build actually did not take that long to do, surprisingly. I don't know, it's one of those builds where I just start on it and it's just like, okay, this is coming together, it's working, and I'm happy, and I'm not having to like sit and like ponder over things forever. So, but anyways, in here, of course, we have crafty crates. We can now make these. You remember earlier in the series I said we were going to make a crafty crate, but then it's like, oh, we can't because it's extreme wood. Now we can make those. And I also bulk crafted a few things. Most of the stuff's pretty cheap, though. Oh, and I ran cows. And I ran cows, I ran chickens, I ran death tomes. A few new mobs that I've been running. Death tomes, of course, being from the Twilight Forest, but they drop books. I wasn't actually using the books just yet, but I was just kind of seeing about their drops. They do drop enchanted books also. Oh, and I also set up, I added 2 more things to our like rules. First up, of course, no AE2. Corporeal is the name of the game. Then I put no setup backup. Basically what that means is, I know it's common with like AE2 systems and stuff where you have like machines that craft this, especially like a Cobbleworks. You have machines that craft this and then they just back up. And that's how it stops. I use that system a lot. But we're not going to be doing that in this series. No setup backup is allowed. It needs to go somewhere. And stuff needs to be intelligent about when to turn on, when to turn off. And that's also going to help us out with performance. Because we have a lot of stuff we have to set up in this series. So that's just going to help us out a lot. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be doing a few things. Because I'm at the point right now where I want to do, let's see, I want to do flight, I want to do mob farms, I want to do mana movement and more power production, I want to do auto crafting, I want to do auto sorting. I want to automate alchemy tables. I just want to do all these different things. So I've kind of got to just start working through all this, and a lot of these things kind of build upon each other. But everything's pretty much open to us at this point. Okay, so what we're going to do to kind of kick off this episode and get us started is we need to do our overall sorting system. I did use concealment key on these for right now because I'm not really accessing the drawers too much. But we're going to be doing auto sorting from... Basically, we're going to have an auto sorting system that can then take items from all of our different inputs. Because we're going to have like a corporea general input. We're going to have mob farm inputs. We're going to have farm inputs. Just different things in locations. Not as many, I think, as in most packs because... or most series, because our farms are going to be managed, I think, on site for the farms. But our mob farms and things like that will come up to a central input. So the very first thing that I want to do is, let's go ahead. I'm going to craft up a few obsidian chests, just for starters. I think that's what I want. I need something really dense. And I think, not creative chest, draconium chest I think is beyond our means, yeah. Okay, so we're going to need 56 iron ingots. Oh, wait. It's not even the right one. 56 iron ingot. And then we're going to need 56 gold ingots. And then 32 diamonds. And then 32 obsidian. Oh, I'm getting low on obsidian again. Okay. I'll have to go mine up some more. That's fine, though. Alright, so we've got our 4 obsidian chests. And technically these that are over here can get moved once I get these emptied out. But what we're going to do, we're going to set this up. We really don't need a big area for our main input. But this is here, instead of just pumping it straight into the drawers, I want to be able to visually come over here and I want to be able to see, is anything backing up on us? Right? That's kind of important that we know that. And what we're going to do, we're going to set this up. I had to shift my original plan, so this is going to be more like probably something like this, I think. Let's see, we'll have it back here because this is kind of like a little like loading, unloading kind of area for the night market, and I think having it back here should be fine. Okay, yeah, we'll just do this. And we can always make more of these little setups if we need, later on. But we'll see how things go. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to put output nodes here. And some of this stuff will kind of get cleaned up, and we'll have a little, like, almost like a little shed. Not really like a shed, not very deep, but kind of more shallow. And we'll kind of have a wall setting, right back in here or something. Trying to think, because I don't want to put things in front of it. I would have to use the top side for input. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me get a couple signs also. Do I want to... Oh yeah, we'll have that tree there, so we'll have to come in like from this angle, sort of. So yeah, we'll do it right here. This is where it's going to sit, in fact. That way we've got plenty of room to come in between. That goes there, and then we'll have our output node sitting here. And let me get some... Well, I guess I don't need signs right this second until I clean it up, but we're going to say like this one here is going to be mob farm input. And we'll go ahead and just grab this connection. And I've got to pop down to the prison real quick and just connect it up to the master spark, or the master node that we set up. Because this is basically the master mob farm input. And even our mob farms are going to be, they're going to toggle themselves off. Like blazes, for example, there's no reason to run blazes when I'm full up on blaze rod. So we're just going to have it read that kind of stuff for us. Alright, so that's plugged up, and I should be able to just break this off now. And then if I was to run something, see, I was running spiders. Let's go ahead and drop blazes back in there for a little bit. Or better yet, we'll just run witches. Okay. So we'll get those running, and then if I pop back up, and we take a look in here, yeah, it's getting the drops. Perfect. And by the way, this is chickens. There's a chicken back there. I had that set up for a little bit. Now let me grab an input node, and then what we'll do is we'll just input it into the main system. And I'm mainly doing this because I want to have it a little bit more controlled with the way that it handles things. And we actually don't even have a main system up here. Just grab what I've got as far as nodes go. I guess I could just request them, but we don't really have a main system at the moment. But of course you could just plug up the prison up to nodes on the drawers. And I think that would normally be the thing. But this way we can see, and I can even read this with a comparator in a little bit later. What I might do is actually do the bottoms of this in little tiles. That way I can have a red string comparator below it, reading it, and then it activates like lights or other further control if this starts to back up. Maybe have it override all the mob farms. So if this starts to back up, it's going to say, hey, wait a second. We don't need to run these mob farms because things are backing up here. I think that would be good to do for us. And that way I just kind of have this as sort of a buffer. I think this is plenty big as a buffer, but if I do need to expand it later on, I can. So let's grab that, and we need to set up a master routing node. And this is going to be our master node for the whole input system. Now we're not going to touch the blood magic stuff. That's a dedicated system. We don't need to access that at all. But we'll say, I guess really, I could put it back here. So the master node maybe sits right here. Just kind of looks like arcane paraphernalia, you know. Alright, so that is now, that should be, there we go. Now that's connected up. So we can input items to the master node, and then we'll just go ahead, shift right click, and we'll come over to our controller slave, and we'll put a output node here, connect that up, and that should start feeding over some of the items from the witch, and probably the blaze rods. Yeah, you can see most of these things got pulled out. And then what we'll do is we'll grab that, and let's see, mob, well, I guess I need to plug this up to all of these, but we'll go ahead and do an output node there. Oh, and quarries, we'll need a buffer and a setup for quarries also. That should pull out the glowstone and redstone. Yeah, so we're left with this stuff. Now the potions, of course, I do have a place for that also. Now notice my FPS will occasionally drop while I'm in the night market. It's kind of to be expected. I'm not too worried about it. But I did do some testing in a duplicated test world, and it's not. I tested item cages because I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be using these for lighting. Item cages didn't change it. Concealment key helped a little bit, but I think it's just the mass amount of decor and stuff like that that's coming together. That's fine. Okay, but that pulled out the potion of healing for us. Now further on, Inferium, I guess I could output Inferium because I've got an Inferium farm. That would actually help me out a lot. Not having, I'd rather have all the Inferium ran through the same place, which is over here at the farms. We'll do an output node here. We'll just bind that over. So that one's connected. Inferium is now being pulled out from the mob farm also. And then I just have kind of this stuff here. I've got to set up a place for storing this. This is kind of just miscellaneous junk as far as these four things. Bat souls and bat trophies, we're going to have a dedicated place for those also. But at the moment, that should be good. That's going to keep our overflow chest a little bit nicer for right now until I get the miscellaneous stuff set up. Okay, so that stuff's in place. Now the next thing that I want to do, I'll show you another little problem that we've got. Let me go down here and let me switch my mobs. Let's pull out witches. Let's throw in Cyclopses. And I don't currently have a place for Cyclops eye shards. I removed it and just put eyes in there. So you can see that Cyclops eye shards are going to start piling up on us. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up a crafty crate. And this is about as simple as crafty crate automation can be. So it's nothing too elaborate. It's not going to wow you by any stretch of the imagination. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up... I'll tell you what, actually we could have it setting right over here. I've decided that within this series, you know, all of our blood magic stuff's not in one area or one room. All of our Britannia stuff's not in one area or in one room. The same is going to be true for most of our crafting. It's going to be kind of spread out around the base and just kind of trying to fit it in instead of just having a big room full of crafty crates. Kind of spread it out and make it all fit into the world, I think. But what we're going to do is we're going to put a crafty crate setting... do I want it there or do I want it... Yeah, what we'll do is we're going to put a hopper that sits right down here. And then right next to it, we're going to put a input routing node right there. And we're going to put a crafty crate setting right here. And I'm not going to connect that just yet because I want to be able to let you see it run. And then let's do an output routing node that sits, say, here. And what we're going to do is on the downside, we're going to have a precise item filter that has Cyclops eye shards. That's all. And then we'll just throw this back into there. And then grab that connection, bind it to there. And this is going to start pumping in the Cyclops eye shards and just compacting them for us. Now you can do a bit more with this. We will be doing setups where we have one crafty crate that does multiple different compacting processes. So if we need to make, say, gold blocks, it knows how to do that, but it also knows how to do all these other different compacting recipes. But I'm not going to do that with the Cyclops eye shards because these need to be compacted before they even come into the system. I've only got storage for Cyclops eyes. I don't have storage for Cyclops eye shards because they're not used for anything beyond just making Cyclops eyes. So then what we'll do is we'll take our input node, connect it there, and all of our Cyclops eyes are gone. And then we can just hide this away, and there we go. We kind of have a little crate that's stuck back here. And I will probably put in, and we'll just put an item frame here with a Cyclops eye. So we know, at a glance, you know, we know this crafty crate is making Cyclops eyes. And there we go. So that's done. So now I can run Cyclopses without those piling up. Let me go turn off Cyclopses, though. I've actually probably got enough gold at the moment. I've got like 13, 14 stacks or something like that. Now the next thing that we're going to do is I want to do automatic input for items from me. So if I'm out exploring, of course, I think most people would probably go with an ender chest, which is cool. And originally that's what I was thinking about doing, but then I was like, why would I go with that? Why would I do that? First up, they're expensive. They're very, very expensive for us. And that's because all of this. And I don't have the automation in place yet to easily craft this. And I would need 2 of them to make it useful, plus an ender pouch, and that's just too much. So what we're going to do, we're going to go magic with it. We're going to go with magical item input. And what we're going to have to do, the very first thing, is we're going to have to fight the gaia. Originally, I wasn't planning on doing that this soon, or at least starting it. But since we're kind of doing infrastructure and item sorting and things like that, we might as well go ahead and do it. So I'm going to need some gaia pylons for starters. These are... Okay. They're not too bad, but I am going to need a lot of mana pylons. So can I request... It's a little bit more than what I need, but let's go ahead. I need Well, no, I'm going to need more than that. In fact, I was thinking I only needed one. Okay, so there's 32 energetic alloy blocks. That's probably the worst part of it, truth be told. Let me just get... The ender pearls stack to 64 now? No, that's neat though. If you do... Okay, that's interesting. If I do... Let me just dump those back in. If I say stack of ender pearl, it gives me a stack, a 64 stack of ender pearls. Haha! That makes it easier on me. Like moving things around. I actually wonder if they can stack items. Well, no, they probably... Well, they might be able to put a full, like, 64 into, like... Oh, by the way, this mess... when I was building that building, I needed taiga cobblestone, and so I ran the metamorphosis. I've got it turned off right now with redstone, but it actually destroyed my little rail here because I was vein mining, you know, and it destroyed it, and my minecart ended up down there, and you can see I had to actually run rails up to get it out of there because it was full of mana, and I didn't want it to just get lost, have to break it or something like that. And I'll tell you what, it's overdue. Then let me go ahead and just get 2 additional sparks. Alright, let me go ahead and just plop, plop those down. And I should be able to craft out... And I know it was brought up in the comments about doing that, where you can just right-click. I guess since we're crafting a bunch of this. Usually I don't feel like opening up the inventory and setting it to hotbar, to be perfectly honest, but... We gotta get Terra still automated, but we're gonna be upgrading mana. I was originally debating about doing that this episode and maybe start transferring some of it around, but then I decided to do infrastructure work instead, because running my mob farms, it would just make life a little bit easier. Okay, let me go ahead and get a few mana diamonds. Okay, so our pylons, I should be able to make our 16 mana pylons now, or not. There we go. And our mana pylons, there's those. Then we need our Natura pylons. I need one more piece of Terra steel. So now I can get my last Natura pylon. That's honestly the worst part. Now we need Gaia pylons. Most of this is fairly easy. We've got it. The molybdenum. Anyways, that we're going to have to actually go to a new dimension. Oh, and let me get 8 castle bricks. Alright. And don't forget, you can push C on this stuff as well. I tend to just type because I don't mind typing, but... Let's see, let me get 8. Let me get our lamp of cinders. So there's all of that. And then we just have to go get our molybdenum. And we're going to need 8 of this. But to do that, we're going to need Appalachia souls. And to go to Appalachia, that's actually the next dimension after Wildwood. And to go there, we are going to need to get ourselves the Wildwood blocks, which is mana steel for that. Blocks of mana steel. So let me just go ahead. I guess we could use the auto compress method. K button with your crafting table opened up. And then our Wildwood souls, I do not have enough. I'm going to have to run a few more, but that's fine. And while that's running, I'll get a beacon crafted up also. Okay, I'm going to have to make steel also. Okay, we can't alloy steel in our system, so it's going to be iron with pulverized coal. So let's get like 2 stacks of iron ingots, and then let's get 4 stacks of coal. Okay, so that's going to start making our steel for us. And I'll let that run for a little bit. And let's just get all of our Wildwood souls. Okay, I think that's not too bad. Okay, and we'll just drop this, yeah, we'll just drop it right over here. It's fine. These are all going to get moved here soon. Just figuring out where I want them to go. And I'm sure it's generating. Okay. I'm going to need some cobble. And I guess I'm going to head off in this direction, actually. Let me turn off. I feel like I need a tectonic girdle for stuff like this. Alright, I'm after just some Appalachia souls. I can make a spawner like we have with all the others, and we will later. I didn't bring a mob imprisonment tool with me, and it actually doesn't matter because we only need like 8 of these. So it doesn't actually hurt to run around. This is probably this one and then the dark dimension are like my 2 favorite Divine RPG dimensions outside of the actual good ones. Like as far as like recolors go, these 2 are my favorites. So if I spend a little bit longer in this one, that's okay. Alright, we got all the souls that we need though, so I'm going to go ahead and just pop on back. And our steel is still kicking away. Oh yeah, this. I need this. Alright, so there's all the steel that we need. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this out for just a minute. I'm going to finish making that steel, but right now I want to switch it over. Go ahead and just compact all of that. And then drop it back into the alloy smelter. That. And that's going to start crafting our more molybdenum ingots. Okay, so now I just need to craft a beacon real quick. Goodbye to another one of our nether stars. Oh, and I'm going to have to go farm obsidian, though, to do that, I think. Okay, well, let me go get some obsidian. I'm probably not going to go to the end for this. I'll go to the end again between episodes. I want to get over to Blood Magic Soul Automation here shortly as well. Because as soon as we do that, we're going to be automating lots of nice things, like obsidian. I mean, yeah, we could make obsidian seeds, but that's so boring. It's so boring. I mean, long term we might, because I know how much obsidian we actually need for this pack. Now, if it's anything like Divine Journey was, it's going to be a whole lot of it. But for right now, I kind of just want to do a little bit more interesting setups, and then we can fall back on seeds as needed long term. So the only exception is maybe some of the ore seeds, because I know glowstone doesn't come from the orchid, the ignum orchid, or orchid ignum, I mean. But so something like that, maybe. But honestly, I think our witch spawner should be able to keep us up on that stuff. I want to get some luminizers made to connect these floors, like, easier. There's our molybdenum. So there's our 4 gaia pylons. Whew. They're quite expensive, but on the plus side, they're pretty much like one-time crafts. We don't have to worry too much about those moving forward, I don't think. And then let me get, let's see, the Ritual of Gaia. I want to anchor it. Well, I'll anchor it here, and I'll just move them over by 1. Okay, so that's in place. Let me go ahead and unvisualize. That should be all set up. And then we just need a Terra Steel. Just get that crafted up real quick. I think all I'm going to need probably for this boss is the stuff that I've got. And I've probably got enough mana in the mana mirror. Probably. I tell you what, for right now, we've got to do the whole mana infrastructure work very soon. This was fine for a little bit, but I'm starting to get, like, I don't know, not really frustrated, but I'm starting to run into some painful annoyances of late with our mana system. And we can definitely upgrade. It's not going to be hard. It's just crafting all the stuff for it is what's delayed me. I don't know if I want regen. Yeah, let's take regen for this fight, I think. We'll throw that on. And it's that up there. There we go. And I've got to shape this whole area up. And we will make the gaia easier with flowers later on. But there you go. Oh no, I don't want to be in that. There's crap on the floor everywhere. Hey, there we go. We didn't get any mob phase. I know Isaka brought that up. It's Vorpal that bypasses that entire thing half the time. Vorpal just does so much damage that it basically causes it to skip. The Gaia normally has a damage cap, but Vorpal bypasses that cap and allows it to skip the mob phase. So it's actually like a super easy fight. So anyways, we got our Gaia spirits. Now we could go ahead and fight Gaia tier 2, and we probably will before too long because I'd like to get like the Key of King's Law and some things like that. The apple also is really nice to have, so we don't have to carry food anymore. And we can instead just eat mana. But for right now, this is all I need. So what I want to make is, I want to make a Rod of the Fractured Space. And this is going to require that we get some Dreamwood twigs. So I actually think I used up most of my Dreamwood, so I'm just going to go ahead and make some more. I can't remember what I was making, but something that I was making took Dreamwood. Oh, crafty crates. That's what it was. I think I've still got a little bit more Dreamwood down there, but it's not much. And I'll fix my mana in a little bit, but I need my mana mirror built back up, honestly. Give me an Eye of Ender. Let me get the Rod of the Fractured Space. Of course, this is from Incorporeal. And this is going to be our Ender Chest system. But it's a whole lot cooler than an Ender Chest. So what I'm going to want is I'm going to want to get an open crate. Okay, it's actually the next day. Originally, my plan was to do the Rod of the Fractured Space. But there's a current bug with the current version of Botania Tweaks and the current version of Incorporeal. And the past versions. I checked a few versions. I actually spent quite a few hours bug testing with it. And it is Botania Tweaks acting up with Incorporeal, which both of them are by the same mod author. But I did let Quat know about the issue. And he knows what the issue is. But basically, Botania Tweaks changes one thing about the open crate. And then the Rod of the Fractured Space, the way that it reads the open crate, it messes with that. He said he thought he fixed it, but it's acting up at the moment, so he is working on that. But you can see right now it says missing crate at bound location, even though it's bound to an open crate. So, but yeah, I did let him know about that, but it's not a big deal. We're going to do a different system. I was originally planning on waiting for this system, and we're going to use it for some other stuff, but it actually doesn't hurt if we use it for input at the moment. And then later on we'll have Rod of the Fractured Space for our input, because it's actually the same setup for both, so it's not a big deal the way that we're going to be setting it up. So Rod of the Fractured Space, the more items that you send through, basically what it would do is it would open up a portal on the ground and it would suck all the items in near it, and then the portal would close, is what it normally does. But the more items that you send through, the more mana it costs. And it does, if you start dumping in stacks and stacks at a time, it does cost a lot of mana. So I was going to use shulker boxes. We're still going to use shulker boxes, but we're going to go with a different system for that. And I've got a chest here with a lot of junk in it. As well as some junk on me. So what we're going to do, we are going to set up a little something. Let's grab ourselves an open crate. I guess I could have used the one that was down there, but... and an item conduit, and... let's go ahead and get this and this. Now, once we change up our mana system, this track isn't going to run up here. There's actually going to be a rail here, like a railing. And so I think we're going to set up our item input up here, is what I'm thinking. So what we're going to do, we're just going to run this up. Let's do it right here. And we're going to put an item conduit setting. Oh, okay, 1 second. We're going to do an item conduit setting right here. And we're going to do an open crate that sits right here. And then what we're going to do is, underneath that open crate, we're going to set up a random carpus. And actually, let me grab this, because I'm going to dummy bind these flowers that we're setting up. So our random carpus right here, and we're going to bind it to that pool for right now. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set up a hopper hawk. And I'm almost out of earth runes. I actually had quite a few of those still left, but I used 2 to make some random carpuses because I did make some extras because we're going to need them for a couple other automations that I have in mind. And then I also used 1 for the, right here, recessive spark augment. I spent 1 on that also. But let's go ahead. We'll set that up there for just a second. And we're going to put our hopper hawk. I think it should be able to reach down to here. Let's grab that. Bind it over. And the random carpus should pick up things quicker than the hopper hawk does. If it doesn't, then we can use mycelium to, give it a delay. But okay, so that works. And this is actually going to be a pillar that kind of runs up, I think. Or, no, let's actually, I'm going to move where this is placed because I want this more visible than that. So let's have the hopper hawk setting here. Okay, well, what we're going to do, let's go ahead, let's pull that up. We're going to put underneath it Metamorphic Forest Cobblestone, which, of course, with the random carpus, that means anything that's dropped on it or right beside it, it can pick it up and it can place it, but it can only place it on locations that have Metamorphic Forest Cobblestone. So, for example, if I put, and this thing doesn't require any mana, it's just the mana, same with the Hopper Hawk, neither of these require mana. But mana does boost their range, but we don't need boosted range. But if I throw that next to it, and we give it just a second, boom, it's going to place that Metamorphic Forest Cobblestone. Thing is, some of this is going to get moved once this track is gone. But this location will still stay the same. So, yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll put... okay, no, you know what? I'm going to get another Dominant Spark. Or I'm going to get a Dominant Spark, not another one. The one I made was recessive, but I don't guess... If I do it this way, we're not going to use it here. So let me get 36 Lapis Lazuli. And that way we can set this up a little bit more proper. So what we're going to do is we're going to have... we'll have a mana pool that sits right there. And we're going to have a pulse mana spreader that sits, we'll put it right here, and then I'll probably end up moving it over to here and just shift everything. So this will be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in, I'll just start with 2 because I'll end up moving it, but this should be fine for now. We're going to put that down, and then at the end, we're going to put another mana pool sitting right here. And we're going to bind that to there. And then what we're going to do is, I'm going to have to go make some more sparks. Let me go make 2 more sparks real quick. These are getting quicker to craft. I just keep running energetic alloy, basically. Oh, but it's terrible because sparks are basically our mana transfer, power, a lot of our power transfer, our corporea network, and then later on, I believe Cygnus requires sparks as well. Yeah, it requires sparks also. So we're also going to need it for Cygnus. So we need sparks for everything, right? Like these are like our conduits. But we're going to go ahead and put a spark here and a spark right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dominant spark augment right there. So it's going to pull mana from that mana pool and that mana pool. Originally I was going to have this one be recessive and just send all of its mana over to here. But originally for some reason in my head I thought I could have the spreaders over here and attach to that. And that's not a good idea. It's terrible. It is going to drain out our power. But it's only 1 mana pool, and this is actually going to use very, very little mana. Realistically, I could use diluted mana pools here, but I'm not going to because, yeah, I'm not going to because I don't want to, basically. All right, so that's in place, and then what we're going to do is we are going to set up, well, we're going to put a bore lens on this pulse mana spreader, which basically means anything that it goes through, it's going to break that. And then what I want to do is underneath, and we're just going to be reading off this first one. Actually, for right now, let's go ahead and just pull that up. Because I'm only going to be running 1 chest through this, but we're going to expand on it and add more chests for it to read from. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down our red string comparator is going to set... actually, it doesn't even really need to go that far down, really. I guess, well, really, I guess I could go right here. Just pull that up. We'll put the red string there. The forest cobble there. So that's in place, and then we're going to put one more mana spreader that's going to set right here. Should be fine. And then what we're going to do, we need to, well, we're going to set up a node network. And I'll break this off. Everything good. Yeah, we're going to have an input routing node that sets right here. Yeah, and we're going to put the master setting like right up there. And this is going to be our like player, well, actually this will be our ender chest line. I think what we'll do is we'll have it, we'll probably leave this setup long term because this is basically the same setup that I want to actually keep for this. And then once the Rod of the Fractured Space is put in, we'll use that for actually doing our player inventory, and then we'll have this as our ender chest line. And I want to do this setup because, and you'll notice there's a lot of Steves right now. Just a whole lot of Steves. But I wanted to do this setup because, oh yeah, we already have an output routing node. It's the second one at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and just plug it up to personal input. I did put signs here. I'm going to plug it up to personal input, but later on we will change that. So, but I kind of wanted to do this setup because we're going to be, basically, we're going to be using Ender Chest without using the Ender Chest or Ender Storage mod. Because, of course, Tails does not include Ender Chests. They're not in the pack whatsoever. And this is, I wanted to kind of show you this because this is a good example of how you can have Ender Chests without having Ender Chests. Really, when you have Botania, it's kind of a wasted mod because you can run everything through a single Ender Chest. You don't need a million of them. Let's go ahead and that's plugged up. That's plugged up. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's grab this and this. And what we're going to do, we are going to spine this back here. We're going to throw on our 8 pieces of ice, 2 pixie dust, and that's going to start running. Actually doesn't require a ton of mana, it doesn't look like. And what we're making is a soul core frame. This right here. And then we're going to upgrade. There's 3 different options. We'll go over all of these later on. But for right now, Ender Soul Core, we're going to need the Dragonstone. And actually, let's go ahead and let's grab that. And we're going to make ourselves 2 Hands of Ender. These are right here. And what these do, these are from Britannia. Let me go ahead and get this. There's our Soul Core frame. We're going to throw that, 2 Mana Weave, 2 Dragonstone, and 1 of our Hands of Ender onto that. And I need 1 more piece of Living Rock, actually. But what Hand of Ender does, it's a Britannia item that just, if you right-click it, it opens up your Ender chest. That's all it does. And I know in a lot of times it's one of those items that doesn't get used a whole lot because pretty much every pack has Ender storage anymore. So you have all the different colored Ender chests and you have Ender pouches that do all these things. But like I said, you actually don't need them, truth be told. Because Britannia can do, well, Britannia plus Incorporeal can do all this for you as is. And I've actually, we did this setup kind of on Sprout, except we had Natural Pledge, so we did a couple other things. But if I recall, yeah, we did this on Sprout, so you may know where this is headed. But there we go. There is our Ender Soul Core. Now what this does, this thing does the unthinkable. It allows you to break the rules of vanilla Minecraft. If we set this down right here, and you can see the conduits connect to it. And what we're going to do, we're going to set, well, here in a second, we're going to say extract for right now. And we're going to say insert on our open crate. And if I right click this, you can see it does a little bit of damage to me. And we're going to have this mana spreader face up in that direction. Because what that's going to do, that's going to feed this with mana. It does require a little bit of mana to run. It does not require a whole lot. And basically the amount of items that pass through it, just like the Fractured Rod or the Rod of Fractured Space, the more items that go through it, the more mana it's going to cost. But if you just throw, a couple items through it, it's not going to take a bunch of mana to run it. Now what we can do is, if, for example, I open this up and I throw in my Wand of the Forest. We give it a second, you can see it falls down right there from the open crate. Because the Ender Soul Core, you can see my head inside of there, actually. And what it does is it connects to my Ender chest and allows things like conduits that normally cannot access the Ender chest. Like nothing really can access the Ender chest. But with the Ender Soul Core, we can access the Ender chest. So then what we're going to do is, let's see, Conduit Facade. Let me go ahead and make this real quick. And I'm just going to do it with the Scabbous Line Pitstone. Just put that right there. And you'll notice the Hopper Hawk right now. If I throw down Cobblestone, it's going to grab it. It's going to drop it right there. Okay. So the Hopper Hawk is working well. And that's going to, like I said, that's eventually going to be kind of like a pillar that stands there. And then we'll have our Soul Core floating there with our open crates. It'll be kind of visible, but none of the redstone bits will be visible. And so what we're going to do, well, let's go ahead and set up the redstone for this. Actually, I'm going to need to pop downstairs to do the redstone because I need, I'm going to use insulated cables, I think. And while I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and get a shulker chest, and we're going to upgrade it to like crystal tier. And it's important that we use all the same color because I'm going to be using different colored shulker boxes. And in Tails, of course, it doesn't have all this stuff, but you can use just these shulker boxes. They work just as well. but we're going to use different colored shulker boxes for different things. So the quarry will have one dedicated color of shulker box. Our personal inventory will have one dedicated color of shulker box, and so on and so forth, for moving items like cross-dimensionally. So let's get ourselves 2 shulker shells, and I actually only had 2. Okay. I'm going to have to go back to the end at some point and maybe farm shulkers. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's grab this filter, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull that conduit facade up for just a second. I'm going to put this advanced filter into the extract here, and we're going to say that you're going to blacklist purple crystal shulker box, and we're going to match meta, match MBT. That's because this is an empty purple crystal shulker box. But what we're going to do then is if I set this down, I drop in a piece of cobble, we should say the comparator is on for a split second, but then it goes off. That's because this input node has grabbed it and sent it down to that chest. And then what we're going to do is we are going to, let's drop down a piece of cobble there, do our redstone torch coming out here. Actually, you know what? We'll do that. Yeah. And then I'll just run it over like that. Okay. And then, yeah, so I won't need the insulated cable. And then we'll just close this off. Now, technically, if I'm using multiples, well, technically it wouldn't matter because it would just recycle the box back into here, truth be told. But I don't know, we might change things up. But technically, if it broke, say, 8 different chests and only like 2 of them were empty or 1 of them was empty, it would just replace the ones, and it's not like it costs any mana, really, to do this. Okay, so anyways, that stuff's in place. And so then, if I was to set this down, and sparks pick up by stack, so if I spread this out, it'll take it a little bit longer to go through this. And let me go ahead and drop our conduit facade for right now. Okay, so if I grab this and well, actually, like, let's say I'm out exploring and I'm like mining in the between lands and stuff, and I fill up this purple crystal shulker box, then what I can do, dump it into there, and you'll see here in a second, it drops down to the random carpus. Oh. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to do this system. I didn't think about the random carpus not being able to place tile entities. Okay, I had to fix the system. I ended up changing it over just to a dispenser, and then I just did double hoppers with the open crate. We may, whenever we shift this, once that track is gone, I'll probably shift it over, so we'll just have like 1 hopper that catches the items, feeds them to the dispenser, and then they can pump the items out. Probably have it through multiple dispensers. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but or how I want to do it. I don't know. There's a couple things I could do, but so anyways, and then I've got just a timer underneath this set to once every 10. Well, actually, let me change this to 200, just so it's not clicking redstone. Every 5 seconds. Every 10 seconds, it's gonna try and dispense. Probably set it up with a comparator and just have it, if it's got something, try to dispense. But this should be fine for now. And then once we add more dispensers, well, that's the plan though, is add more dispensers. And probably just have it on the timer, but we'll see. We shall see. I guess I could do another red string comparator here. Ran into a timer. I don't know. But I'm going to wait till we shift this over. But we're going to be moving this whole mana system either next episode or the episode after. I really want to do some like more in-depth crafting crate automation, like where we have on-demand crafting for a few things. So I kind of want to get into that. But anyways, and then down here we've got a comparator. I did change this over to blue insulated wire because this is only emitting like a comparator signal of 1. For our testing purposes, when we actually have the crates, it should be a 15. Well, no, because then it would break. Yeah, we need it to break at a 1, or after it loses the 1, and not break it like a 3. And if I had it just with redstone, it would be... it would go down to where it couldn't reach this torch anymore, and then it would cycle and break it. So, for example, if we take this and we throw in, there's some insulated wire, and there's some redstone, and there's that scabbous-lined plate. Okay, so I'm out adventuring, doing my thing. Let me close in this floor real quick. I know it's about wrapping up point. We're about to end out. But if I'm out doing my thing, gathering materials, I drop this into the ender chest, and we give it a second. That's the 10 seconds in work there. It's going to pull out all the items from this shulker box. And nodes, I could put more nodes on this, but nodes pull out by stack, once per second a stack. And then it's going to break it. And we give it a second. The hopper hawk grabs it. And, oh, wait a second. Let's see. Okay, it's working now. Okay, let me test this one more time here. I don't know, I guess it was something to do with the MBT was something different than what I had after it was cycled through for some reason. So it was like, okay, yeah, I can take that. Okay, it's going to break it. Then it's going to send it back up there. We take a look inside, and there's our ender chest, or our shulker boxes. So it's just going to empty them for us, send it to the storage hub, which will then sort it out into our different storage networks, and then it'll send it right back into our ender chest. So we can basically go out and we can explore forever until buffers maybe back up or something like that. You know, if we're collecting things that aren't slotted in drawers or something like that, then it would be an issue. But you can see all these different items here. So there we go. Now I still need to put output nodes on the ore drawers downstairs on the masters, and then I also need to put them on a couple other things and get the rest of the stuff sorted. But I can work on that. You guys know how to do that now. And then once that track's out of the way, we'll push it over a little bit and kind of reorganize things slightly, but the whole setup's going to stay about the same. The only thing is we might raid the dispenser with the red string comparator as well, and then have that, if there's things in at least one of the dispensers, then it's going to feed and tell a timer, okay, run, place that, and then, yeah, off to the races sort of thing. And the timer is only so that it doesn't get stuck. Because sometimes redstone does like to get stuck, especially things that run on pulses. I think that'll be good. Now I can actually go out and explore, and I can get lots of things, and yeah, and then I can just dump it there, and presto, just going to pull it into here. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. I will say that next episode, we are for sure doing one of two things. We're either going to start on mana generation / mana transfer around the base, because we really need that. So I can get my mana out of just this one room and have power and things like that. Or we're going to be working on deeper corporea crafting, like on-demand type crafting and recursive crafting. I want to get capacitors automated really, really bad. Because I'm going to need those for more flux fields and other things like that. So I do want to get those automated, as well as start automating some of the runes and the stuff that goes into the runes, as well as bases. So we'll either be doing one of those things, either more automation or mana transfer and power and things like that. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe. I'll see you guys then.